always, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High and His only begotten Son. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rekah Kodash. All right, double honors unto the apostles and others, great millstone who root and teach well. Wa Barakathum unto the hopeful elect. All right, now today through the Spirit, I want to go into a quick exhortational video, a ride along, entitled Suffering is for Our Development. You see? And what do I mean by suffering? Meaning going through different hardships. You may have a time period where certain comforts that you used to having are taken away. You may have a situation where, you may have to suffer certain situations for a while. It could be in a format of having a bad situation as far as work goes, where you're not making ends meet with your bread, so you're struggling when it comes to making your bread. It may be a situation with your relatives or your woman. She's acting up on you, and you may have to let her go or part ways. She may leave you. You begin going through various infirmities. These things promise to be brought upon the Lord's servants. You see, but when you look into the men of the Lord, they had understanding. Like Peter, Paul, when you read a lot of their books, like in Timothy, he said, I fought the good fight. I finished my course. You see? Because they were getting persecuted by Nero. Even you read, what was that, 2 Timothy 3:11 and 12. It speaks about how the persecution I suffered in Antioch and Iconium. He named all those areas where he was getting persecuted heavy by Israelites, right? And it says that he basically said in the letter that you shall suffer persecution if you shall live godly, man. So if you live in a lifestyle that's pleasing to the Lord is going to place you in situations where you got to apply the stuff that you know. And then you got to prove yourself to the Lord. But ultimately, it's built for our development. Every particular suffering and hell that we catching is built to develop us into better servants of the Lord. You see, the Lord may have you in a situation where you can't get no woman for a while. It could be building your patience up. You may be lacking in patience. So Lord making it to where you ain't got that comfort of a woman for a while. So it's making you have to suffer it. You have to suffer that for that moment. The Lord may want you to want more of your time. So he got it to where you single, even for you women. The very few women believers, a woman will have, the Lord have it set up to where you can't really come across a good man, because the Lord is building up your patience. You see? That's how your patience get built up. Your patience grows by going through long sufferings. Situations where you gotta be uncomfortable and wait until the Lord lifts you up out that situation. You see? That's why the scripture saying Romans 5, it speaks about that, man. In Romans the 5th chapter, it speaks about how we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. And that patience gives you more experience. And when you experienced, that means you're tried out. You've been placed in situations to where you trusted in the Lord and he came through for you. So that this a lot of the time during this grace period, the Lord has placed us in situations where we got to trust in him. So we'll be able to do that whenever he really brings that big test. The Revelation 13 and 16, the mark, when that test is brought upon everybody on the earth, the only ones that'll be able to pass that test is the ones whom the Lord prepared, and the ones who he has his blood upon to have that grace, which is going to be the elect. The elect of the Israelites are going to make it. And they're going to fulfill that Revelation, the 7th chapter. That great deliverance that it speaks about. You see? But before then, you got to go through great tribulation. The Lord is building up your character. You see? That's also why you have precepts like James, the 1st chapter. You see? It says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. For you know that when your faith is tried, your endurance has a chance to grow. That's in the NLT, how it quotes it. Your faith grows and your confidence in the Lord grows through going through those tribulations. That's James 1 and 3 and 4. You see? So that's building up your mindset. Your mind grows by going through situations. You know, that's why when people in the military, they go through very rigorous training, but they got to build a hard mind. So when we catch a hell, a lot of times it'll harden our minds up. You see, it'll give us endurance to be able to move forward. And that's what's needed in these times. We need the spirit of endurance to be able to go through this great tribulation that's coming upon earth. You know, time of famine, pestilence, war. That's what the Lord is testing everybody on the planet Earth with. And the only way to pass that test is the Lord has to give you the spirit to do it, which he's doing that for those that are actually serving him, that are, you know, enduring, that are bearing the tribulation of being a believer of the Lord. You see? They're bearing that persecution, the lies, which really, that's really the main camp that's being persecuted is Great Millstone, GMS. You know, our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because they preach the truth as is written. They don't sugarcoat the doctrine, and people get offended at that. So we get persecuted. You see, but that's a part of what you inherit, because it's not only a blessing to believe in the Lord, but it's a blessing to suffer for the Lord as well. You see, and that's what we've been blessed with. Us true believers, followers of Great Millstone. You see? And you have other guys that may follow Great Millstone that believe as well. You know, we've been given a privilege not only to believe, but also to bear those sufferings. And that's where that reward will come in at. Because we're going to be rewarded for all the suffering and the hell that we catch. You see? Because your character got to get built up somehow. And that's how it gets built up. That's why King David said it. I believe not Psalm, but that's not a Psalm of David. It's one of the Psalms. I'm not sure who the Psalm of Psalms 119 was. I don't think King David did that psalm, but Psalms 119 chapter, you know, when you read about the 71st verse, it says, "My suffering was good for me. It taught me to pay attention to your statutes or your law, statutes, and commandments." I believe I quoted that from the NLT, and then the real version, it basically quotes it the same way. It says, "My suffering was good for you." So it was good that the Lord put me through hell. You see, because it built up his mindset. You know, to make you have more patience. You know, it'll make you be more charitable when you be in situations where you got to apply charity amongst your fellow brother. You know, for brothers that are in the camps, you know, you have to apply charity daily. You know, when you're dealing with your brethren that you speak on the camp with in the highways and byways, you may have situations where you got to help that brother, and it may be uncomfortable for you, but that's the Lord building up your charity. You know, you may be in a situation where you've been dry for a while, and you're like, damn, I can't get no, dang, the Lord ain't allowed me to get no woman. Well, the Lord is hardening you up. He's making you learn how to go through that, be alone. You know, and then also the Lord could be, he wants more of your time. He wants you to increase more. And because when you get with a partner, Paul said it best, is better for a man to not have a woman, because when you have a woman, you got to focus on pleasing her. You can't put all your focus and time into the Lord. So certain brothers, they going to have to suffer being dry for a while because the Lord wants them to get to a certain level. And some brothers, the Lord just don't want you to really deal with a woman at period. You know, he wants you to be more of in the spirit of being like in a solidary type of spirit, so you can be able to fully give your full effort to him. Because some brothers, they may get a woman and they'll go astray. Their spirit will be too comfortable, and they won't be on fire for the truth no more. You see, but all these things play a factor. You may have a messed up job situation, you know, but all these things are Lord building up your character. He building up your meekness, building up your charity, you know, and these things are going to be needed in these times to be able to survive and make it, to make us be that good and faithful servant. Yahushua said, he said, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." That's what's going to happen to those that are actually following the Lord in truth and sincerity, the true believers that make it, the elect. The Lord going to say, "Thou some good and faithful servants." You see, you made the best out of whatever gift of the Spirit I gave you. Whatever gifts I gave you, you continue to do that through the suffering, through the hell, through the test that I placed you through. You know, you one of those ones, when I came, I found faith. Because the Lord said, Luke 18, when he cometh upon earth, shall he find faith. You see, because the faith is going to be so scarce because of how bad it's going to get out here. You see, it's already getting bad right now. You see, This, as this war ramps up, it's gonna be less people are gonna, a lot of these goods that people like to use, you know, they're not gonna be able to access it as readily. You see, you know, as these conflicts go up, it's gonna lead to a decline in trade. You see a decline in us getting a lot of these imports of goods. And then we have the situation where everything's going digital. So that's gonna affect a lot of people as well. They're destroying cash. You see? And then also we had this government shutdown, which they're working on trying to bring it back up. But a lot of people weren't getting paid during that time period. But these are just small, low levels of what's to come. The hell is gonna increase. You know, they just took away SNAP and government benefits. You see? We see a lot of plagues upon the earth. You know, these things are going to get worse as time goes on. But the elect, the true chosen of the Israelites, they're going to have the spirit to endure. They're going to continue to have faith and grow closer to the Lord through all this hell. They're not going to divert from the Lord. You see, this hell is going to bring us closer like it did with King David. Because everybody else, they're diverting from the Lord. This hell is making them result into carnality, result into the lust of the flesh. You know, that's why you'll see, we seen a couple of years ago, people resorted to when that C-19 happened, you know, people resorted to looting, people resorted to doing stuff like that when that lockdown happened. You see, that's just a small example, but the hell is going to get worse that we're going to see these times coming right now. You see, a lot of these Proud Boys, a lot of these guys, they're seeing what Esau is doing, you know, and they're ready to blast. They're ready to fight against the government. And it's going to be civil war, which I'm going to do my next lesson on that. You know, a lot of civil war is coming because they're seeing what Esau is doing, how he's trying to force everybody to be subjected into him and to lose all their rights and everything. And a lot of them, they don't agree with it. So they're going to try and fight against Esau. You see? We have a lot of people that are criminal background and stuff. They're being kicked out of it. They get ISIS coming to get them. This is tribulation. This is hell, man. A lot of people's jobs get replaced by AI. You see? So for particular brothers that may suffer some of these things, you know, that's just a test of the Lord to build your faith up. You know, build your character up. You see? So that's how we got to view these stuff that we go through, the suffering, the hell that we catch, and the hell that we will catch more. We're going to catch more hell. It's going to get more uncomfortable out here. But it's to build us up. It's to make us rely on the Lord more. It's to make us have more patience. It's to make us be more charitable amongst each other. When brothers may have to share spots together. You may have to be more available to help a brother out with rides and things of that sort as this tribulation, as hell ramps up. These are all going to build us up. That's why Yahushua said he was made perfect through the suffering in Hebrews 2:10. You see, that completed him. And that's what's going to be the same deal for us when we catching this hell. So just know all the suffering and all the things you got to forsake and all the hell that you catch is not for nothing. It's to build you up. It's for your own improvement. You see, and the Lord loves us that much to where he's chastening us for our improvement. So we can other people, they're not going to be ready. You see, they didn't go through boot camp. We're actually going through